Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Carlos. Getting ready to go to the gym today. I'm going to film this video going over a session I did 2 days ago. Yesterday I rested and drinking my coffee. Very dark, black, delicious coffee. So, today's words of advice, of wisdom, let's get this camera rolling, is what to do when you are beholden to your logbook. Many of us do train with the system. We do train for gains, and we do train to get better and to improve and go beyond what we've done before. We log everything. Okay, we did a bench press session, 20 reps with the bar. We even write out the bar. I don't write these things out anymore. I just talk them into my cell phone, and then I'll write them down on an Excel and keep a chart. And then my max lifts, got up to 110 kilos, did 3 reps. Now we're going to go for 4 on the next time. For you guys who understand and are beholden to this type of training, you will also understand that there are times, not only days, there are times that logbook is a real hindrance. It'll set you back. It'll mess with your mind. It's like the weight scale if you're trying to go up or down and it's not going up or down. It can really play havoc on your ultimate goals. Now, yes, the idea is to get stronger, to get better over time. But this is not linear. It's very hard, if not next to impossible, for you guys that have been training for a while, like for years, to be on a continual path of progress. Sometimes you get into a streak, a winning streak, like I have been for several, I've done this, like last year I was on a 4-month linear streak on my squats and certain lifts, and then it plateaued out, and then it's kind of like it takes a dip. Then I went into a cut, into a diet, so it's not really important to hit PRs, just to maintain the muscle. And then, for the last 2 months, I've been going on this PR journey again, and it's been going good. It's been going great, and I'm not stopping. It's just that some days it just doesn't work. Some days, what do you do? What do you go home? Like, what are you going to do? Like, okay, so let's get into the session today. The bench press. Now, the bench press movement I've been trying to progress linearly on, trying to improve every single session. I'm doing the 5x5. And today's session, or this session that I will be presenting, was an attempt to hit the 5x5. I got up to 4 sets of 5 reps. And on this session, I couldn't do 3 reps for 1 set. I just couldn't do it. There was just no way. It wasn't a pain issue. It wasn't any other issue other than that weight felt heavier than I could manage for some reason. Now, so what do? Now, this has happened before. So I have the experience of knowing that it's not a permanent situation. I didn't lose all my strength. My CNS wasn't engaged. I had a bit of a cold, whatever. There's many reasons for not having peak power at any particular time. So what do? Now, we have many tools and many recourses. On those days when there is just not that power, it doesn't exist, I resort to volume. I'll hit a certain body part that I'll throw a lot of volume on it, We're not newbies. We're not just starting to train. If we did 3 sets on biceps, if one day we do like 20 sets, it's not going to kill us. That's pretty extreme, and I don't do that. But in this particular case, after the bench press, I went and did my biceps. Now, with the biceps, I did 10 sets, actually. I did 8 sets of pracher curls with the dumbbell, which I made gains on. I transferred all that frustrated, lack of progress energy from my bench press onto 35-pound dumbbells on the pracher curl. And I made progress. I was with difficulty hitting 13 reps with not the greatest range of motion, keeping the tension at a certain range. And today's, I'm just going to extend that arm all the way down. I'm going to curl my wrist, and I'm going to hit it way from the bottom, being careful with the tendon. You don't want to rupture a tendon or anything like that. But I did it to the utmost of my technique, my ability, and I had nothing better to do with my session since I blew out the bench press. 8 sets. 8 sets. And then after that, I went and did some incline curls with lightweight. Just, relaxing all the way back and hitting, putting all the stress on the bicep and trying to hit that peak, contracting the pinky and the whole thing, supinating. And that was great. I said, man, okay, this is like a plan B for sure. When you can't do this power, just go and do a lot of volume on something that you need to do. Did the calves. The calves are starting to respond. Finally, I'm not missing calves. Every time I have to hit calves, which is like usually twice a week, sometimes it's like once every 5 days, but every single week I'm hitting the calves pretty damn hard. And they're starting to respond. They've always been pretty strong. They can handle a lot of volume, but they don't have that bubble to them. But I'm starting to see it on the video, especially on the seated. I'm starting to see that there is some muscle mass there, definition for sure. And so I'm getting, I'm starting to getting more enthused with the calf situation there. So what am I going to do? I'm going to intensify. You lean into things that are working. So I'm going to lean into the calf training. The other thing that I did was a maintenance session on the abs, and feeling really good on the abs. Like, I'm doing this steep incline, and I feel these abdominal muscles just crunching like I've never felt them before, in combination with other 2 exercises, which are the hanging abdominal raises and this modified plank, where it's not a static plank, it's a flexion plank where you try to engage your intercostal and serratus muscles. And in so doing, it also hits the solar plexus area of the abdominals particularly hard. So it's a fantastic synergistic combination. You stress the lower abs with the hanging raises, which are very effective. And then you go to this very steep incline and do the opposite stress on the upper, just this underneath the rib cage area. But obviously you can't completely isolate one part of the ab. The whole thing is working. And then from there, the planks. And it's like, man, this is really, really good. Some days it's a blessing in disguise. Didn't do the chest workout. That's fine. So I really got in a lot of volume with the other stuff. And today, like, this is 2 days after the session, I'm starting to feel more meat on the arms. So I'm going to lean into those too. Lean into those. If something's working, you have a good body part, don't neglect it to even out. That's a very communistic type of, you don't want rich people, you bring them down so everybody be kind of poor, not so poor, you bring these up and have everything like, no, that's not what you want to do with physique. If you have like outstanding legs and your upper body is lacking, well, you prioritize your upper body, but you don't neglect those legs. You want those things to grow even more. Not that they're going to be disproportionate, but so fucking what? I mean, if it's like really a strong body part and your calves are outrageous, take them to the max. Take them to the max. If you have a body part that is really a standout body part, don't neglect it. Don't let it go so the other ones can kind of like it kind of evens out. I think that's dumb. I really do. If you have an outstanding body part, you should make it as freaky as possible. That's my personal opinion. So, and finished off with some cable crossovers. Now, I incorporated these more than a month ago now. It's going on 2 months. And keeping at it. These cable crossovers are useful. In lieu of, heavy training with everything else, it's not the only thing I do for the chest. So I'm incorporating them, and it's very lightweight. Like, this particular cable setup that I'm using feels very heavy, like just 2 pins, and it says it has 15 pounds on each side. It feels like they're 35 or 45 pound dumbbells if I was doing a flat chest fly. So, subjectively, that's what it feels like. It's not, 15 pounds. No, got to really pull on those suckers, you know, just pull and crunch, pull and crunch, pull and crunch. So the secret here, in my opinion, to the chest is focusing on the antagonistic muscles. In other words, when you're doing this thing here, you're crunching your traps, you're crunching your back, and then you bring this in here, but it has to be like both things at the same time. It's like to completely isolate that is fine. That's, you know, you can do that. Isolate the chest, but bringing in the torso more, at least I enjoy doing this a bit more, and it gives obviously a better all-around pump. So what else did we do today? The abs, the calves, the biceps with lots of volume. And even then, my biceps aren't sore. Like, I'm thinking, what the heck do I have to do at this stage to really get like sore biceps? Like, oh my God, like, oh, I worked them yesterday. Maybe just a session all to themselves, like maybe 12 sets, going heavier, going lighter, doing some really heavy reps, doing some lighter reps, doing some speed work, some slow eccentrics, slow concentrics, just like doing all this type of work. It takes a lot of work for me to get DOMs on my biceps, but I'm going to start looking into it because they're starting to grow. Like, my sleeves are getting more uncomfortable. Like, you know, they're getting tighter, so obviously it's working. So, what else has been going on? 2 months on TRT. There's the first month, you know, gained weight because you're coming off this cruise with all the gear and stuff like that. So, cut all the gear, all the like hard anabolics and everything, and dropped the dose all the way down to the minimum testosterone. Cruised on that, was gaining weight, gaining strength. I said, wow, okay, this is great. Had a 24-pound rebound from my diet low. It's like, whoa, this is fantastic. But now in the second month, reality starts to hit in, and it's like, it's bringing down the levels in such a way, it's doing it very slowly. But they are coming down over time. It's like there's no way you're up here on a TRT dose, you know. But it's like you maintain all this stuff until, you know, the chemicals in the body is, you know, you can really play around with this stuff to optimize them for a very long time. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. And if you're, you know, you're on a low amount, it'll eventually reach that equilibrium, you know. That lowest common denominator, what would you say, whatever. So, at this stage, I'm dealing with, not struggling, but definitely dealing with a new state of mind. It's not the same. It's not the same. Since I'm not so focused on details of the physique, but on gaining, you can make great gains while on TRT. I've heard that you can even continue to progress even if you're not on anything for quite a while. If you train really hard and you eat on point. Now the problem is some guys just, they stop training. You know, am I not motivated to train? I am motivated to train. But there's some days I get to the gym and I just want to bullshit and talk, and it's like, no, I'm not so into it like I used to be. But the discipline takes over, and I always get a good session. One way or another, I don't go there to fuck around. I'm not there to waste my time. I don't depend on anything else except my own project that I have decided is important for me to realize, to execute. And so whatever happens in, you know, other aspects of my life is secondary. You know, the prime imperative takes over and says, you go train, and I train. Is it a good workout? Is it a mediocre workout? It's independent of all that. You go in and you train as hard as you can. And usually I'm rewarded with great sessions. You know, I've had some great PRs. So, all this to say, second month, TRT, can't wait to get back on the gear. I'll be straight up honest. Can't wait. But I'm going to be very disciplined with that. You know, it's like, still have 1 more month to go. And, you know, we'll play it by ear. I'll let everybody know what I'm on. I hate, this one thing I really hate about influencers and people on YouTube trying to sell products and try to sell a fake natty or their egos, it's like, well, you should be bigger if you're doing all of this. Man, if I was taking all that gear, I'd be like 3 times your size or what. I don't care. I don't care about that. I really don't have an ego in that sense. What I hate are lies, and I hate liars. I remember back in the 90s, the snake oil people, on these magazines with these ripped, veiny, hard, grainy physiques selling protein powders. And they're natty. Like, nobody talked about the gear, and, they're juicing to their gills. They're doing everything. They're doing oral steroids, they're doing injectables, like they're doing human growth hormone, insulin, all these protocols, and everybody was denying it. And back then, I didn't know better. I was just a gym rat, gym bro, and I said, wow, if I train hard enough and take enough protein, I'll get that way. And it was like the big, they're like chuckling and laughing, and these newbies, they don't know jack shit. And yeah, I mean, it's on each and every one of us to gain knowledge, for sure. Ignorance is not an excuse. And at this stage, I have gained the knowledge, that's for sure. But I hate the liars, and I hate the misrepresentation, and just the fake. I really admire those that are up front with their shit and publish their stuff. Look, I do, 500 this, 300 that, 200 this, and then I come off, and then I do this. That's helpful. Even if you're natty and you're never ever going to do steroids, that is helpful as a perspective. And say, well, okay. And so you have case studies. This whole thing pushes the whole human agenda forward. The whole human agenda. Not just the physique, but everything goes forward when every single individual can present a case study and a case history of their personal lives, of their successes and their failures. What it is that you should avoid, what is it that works for you, what's your mindset, all these things help others in some way. But hiding things and lying about things and misrepresenting things, it's abomination to me. I hate it. It's hard for me to describe how much I hate it. But, so that's why I endeavor, nobody is perfect, but I endeavor to be as above board, as transparent, and as clear in the things that I do. I don't want to misrepresent and mislead and do anything like that. Much less I'm not selling anything, At this stage, I'm not coaching anybody. The day I coach, somebody comes up to me and asks me, bro, how can I get like what you're doing? What do I have to do? And I do train people, but I don't charge them. Like at the gym, there's like 3 or 4 guys that, I kind of supervise, but it's very loosely, their diets. And I've gotten people onto their diets. Are you counting your calories? No, I eat well. Do you fucking know how many calories you're eating? He said, well, I don't know. So I have them count. They come back and I said, gee, I was eating a lot less than I thought I was. And my protein was lower than I thought it was. My fats were higher. And I said, yeah, if you're not counting your food, you're clueless. You will never get the physique that you're looking for if you don't know how to count your freaking macros and how to weigh out your food and how to apportion your percentages, all this stuff. That's what makes a physique. It's not just the lifting. Unless you're incredibly lean and genetically gifted with a very lean body, and everything you eat just goes into muscle mass and lifting, those type of people, they're exceptions. But most people who have like 18 to 25, 26% body fat when sedentary, if they get into weights and that's all they do is just exercise and are clueless about food, they will never, ever reach their goals of physique. They have to learn how to modify their carbohydrates, and to do that you have to know what the hell you're eating, how many carbs you're eating, how much fat, how much protein, because if you're not eating enough protein and you go in a deficit, you'll lose muscle mass. It's the easiest thing to lose weight. It's the hardest thing to retain muscle and just lose fat. Just trim the fat. Oh, lost 3 pounds of muscle over the weekend because he did an intermittent fast and he ate like twice over the weekend. Yeah, you lost like 8 pounds. Most of it muscle. That's, it's just, there's so much knowledge out there, and if you don't if you are so obdurate and so backward as to not want to learn this thing, then why are you wasting your time? Because I like to go and work out at the gym. Good. Take a reality check. You would like to have those nice chiseled abs, a nice V-taper, the flared quads with the big, with the tiny waist and the big glutes and the traps and the whole thing, massive arms. That ain't happening even if you take gear. I know guys I took gear for 5 years. And I looked at, I had a pot belly, I was overweight, like 23% body fat, taking all kinds of gear because I was clueless about the food. Clueless. This is why I was a permabulk guy. And so this is why I'm pretty adamant on the need to know what you are eating and how to fraction and portion your meals so that you retain muscle, build muscle, and don't build fat, and lose fat when you're in a deficit. And what the hell is a deficit? Well, you're not going to know if you don't know how many calories you're eating. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. I'm getting a little bit long-winded, which I love to, be. But anyways, I'll leave you here with the training video, some sampling of the session, and that'll be it for today. Anyways, God bless everybody. See you next time, and don't forget to subscribe.